A night that changed everything. Before we dive in, don't forget to like the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay connected with our evolving stories. Never could I have predicted that a simple dinner invitation would completely upend the peaceful cadence of my life. At 57, retirement had wrapped me in a cocoon of gentle mornings in the garden, afternoons spent among the pages of history, and quiet evenings with Mark, my husband of 30 years. Surprises, I thought, belonged to the past. How wrong I was. It began innocently, a Friday night dinner at the home of Mark's longtime colleague, Jeff, and his wife, Allison. Jeff, in his late 40s, radiated an easy charm, his silver hair and effortless wit captivating everyone he encountered. Allison was equally enchanting, a hostess who could turn even the simplest meal into an event worth remembering. Their home, a classic colonial framed by manicured hedges, exuded a warmth that instantly put me at ease. Jazz floated through the air, mingling with the comforting aroma of garlic and fresh herbs, and the soft candlelight painted playful shadows across the pale walls. "Melanie, I'm so glad you could come," Allison greeted me, her embrace as warm as her smile. "The place smells divine," I replied, already feeling the comfort of their home seeping into my soul. As we gathered around the table, Jeff poured the wine and regaled us with stories from his recent travels. Laughter flowed easily, with Mark appearing genuinely relaxed, freed from the burdens of work. Dessert arrived, a decadent chocolate mousse crowned with raspberries. It was then that Jeff's eyes met mine across the table. "Melanie, Mark tells me you're a master gardener. I could use some advice, my roses are practically begging for help." I laughed modestly. "Hardly a master, Jeff, just patient. Perhaps after dinner, you could take a look," he said, holding my gaze a moment too long, sending an unexpected warmth rushing to my cheeks. After dessert, Jeff led me onto the patio, bathed in moonlight and jasmine-scented air. Mark and Allison remained indoors, deep in conversation about vacation plans. Jeff knelt by a struggling rose bush and beckoned me closer. "Notice the yellowing at the edges?" he asked, voice low and earnest. I crouched beside him, acutely aware of the closeness. "They need more nitrogen," I said, striving for calm. Jeff turned to me then, vulnerability flickering in his eyes. "You and Mark, you still have that connection. Allison and I, it's like we're strangers sometimes." Surprised, I offered a soft reply. "Every marriage has its seasons, Jeff." He nodded thoughtfully, sadness clouding his features. Then, almost imperceptibly, his hand brushed against mine, a simple, fleeting touch that set my heart racing. He pulled back immediately, murmuring an apology, shame coloring his voice. I offered a gentle smile. "It's all right, you were simply honest." And in that fragile instant, a quiet understanding bloomed between us, an unspoken, undeniable bond. The evening ended as it had begun, with polite goodbyes and warm smiles. Yet when Mark slept beside me that night, I lay awake, staring into the darkness, questioning everything. Had Jeff's attention merely flattered me? Or had it stirred something long dormant? In the following days, I resumed the familiar rhythms of life, gardening, reading, quiet dinners with Mark. But something within me had shifted. That night on the patio lingered in my mind, awakening emotions I thought time had buried. Then, one afternoon, Jeff appeared again, this time in my own garden. "Forgive the intrusion," he said, hesitating at the porch. I was hoping for a bit more advice about the roses. Mark, ever trusting, welcomed him warmly before disappearing back into the house. Standing alone with Jeff among the lilacs, silence stretched between us, heavy with words unspoken. At last, he spoke. "I haven't been able to stop thinking about the other night." "Neither had I. I know it's wrong," Jeff continued, voice trembling with sincerity. "But it's been so long since I felt this, alive." I struggled to find words. "I'm married, Jeff. Mark is my life." "I know," he said, stepping closer, "and I would never ask you to give that up. I only needed you to know how I feel." Torn between loyalty and a yearning I could no longer deny, I chose honesty. "We must remain friends, Jeff. Nothing more." Weeks passed. We exchanged occasional, careful messages, gardening tips, weather talk, yet every word, every glance we stole at a company event, deepened the connection. One night, At a gala, Mark and Allison danced together while Jeff and I found ourselves alone on the edge of the crowd. "May I?" he asked, offering his hand. I hesitated, then surrendered to the music. As we swayed under glittering lights, Jeff whispered, "You look beautiful tonight." His words, so gentle and sincere, pierced the walls I had so carefully built. We danced, not just with our bodies, but with our hearts, balanced on a knife's edge of temptation and restraint. Later, as I sat beside Mark, smiling dutifully, I knew something profound had changed. The night would not end without consequences. A few days later, Jeff sent a message, "Melanie, we need to talk. It's important." We met in a quiet cafe, nerves fraying beneath polite smiles. "Allison knows," he said simply. She sensed it at the gala. I couldn't lie to her. Panic clawed at my chest. Yet Jeff's calm gaze held me steady. I told her the truth, that though nothing physical has happened, there's something between us. Tears threatened. "Mark deserves the truth too," I whispered. "You are not alone in this." Jeff assured me, "Whatever you choose, I will respect it." That evening, I sat across from Mark in our living room. My heart breaking. "I have to tell you something," I began. He listened without interruption, pain flashing in his eyes but never anger. When I finished, he reached for my hand. "Thank you for your honesty, Melanie. That's what matters." In that moment, I realized the true strength of our bond, not rooted merely in habit, but in respect, compassion, and unwavering kindness. In the weeks that followed, Mark and I spoke openly, vulnerably, paradoxically. It brought us closer, even as it forced us to confront uncomfortable truths. Jeff and Allison sought counseling. Jeff and I agreed to keep our distance. But the world had shifted. One afternoon, as I pruned my lilacs, Mark joined me, offering tea. "Melanie," he said quietly, "love is more than just being together. It's about allowing each other to seek happiness, even if it means embracing change." Tears welled in my eyes. "You deserve to follow your heart." I looked across the garden to the house, where Mark now laughed gently with Jeff and Allison. Life, like a garden, demands courage, patience, and a willingness to transform. And sometimes, the most unexpected paths lead us exactly where we are meant to go.